Alright, so this video is going to be a little different than my other ones. As you can tell, you can't see me. This one's going to mainly be voiceover and footage, because recently I had the opportunity to fly out and spend basically 2 weeks in Costa Rica. So this is going to kind of be a vlog of that trip. So this is around Costa Rica in 10 days. Almost immediately after landing and driving to the hotel, I noticed that there were bugs everywhere. Here are a few that I saw just in the reception for the hotel and on the walls of the buildings, but they were everywhere. When we first got there, the view was also really incredible, but this would later change and it would become super foggy for the rest of the time we were there. It was still pretty cool, but not awe-inspiring. Another really cool thing about this hotel was that it had a hummingbird feeder on the porch, so I got to see quite a few hummingbirds while we stayed here. And because I was seeing so many bugs around, I thought it would be a cool idea to go light sheeting. It's basically when you hang up a bed sheet and shine a UV light on it to attract bugs. I would later realize that this is a mistake. Not because it didn't attract too many bugs, but because I'm terrified of bugs. But despite this, as the sun began to set, I got in my anti-bug gear, turned on the UV light, and was ready to see whatever wanted to appear on the bedsheet. And it wasn't long until they started appearing, albeit very slowly. For the first 30 minutes, there were like 5 of them, and they were really small and just at the top of the bedsheet the entire time, so I couldn't get good footage of them. And I was starting to get like really discouraged by that, but later, bigger stuff would start to appear, cooler stuff would start to appear, and I got decent photos of some of them. So the first large insect that appeared on the sheet was this beetle. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get too much footage of it, and it was really far away, so I don't know what it was. But after that, I saw these 2 other bugs. One was a type of beetle. The other one, I have no idea, because the photo quality is just so bad. But these were the ones I was able to get like decent quality footage of. Not too long after those 2, a weevil actually appeared on the bedsheet, and so that was really fun taking pictures of it. I don't know what kind of weevil it was, but it was really nice seeing it. And it ended up hanging out with this other bug called a festive diabrotica, which was really cool to see. Another really cool thing was this leafhopper that landed on it. It was definitely the highlight, other than this cricket that I saw towards the end. Okay, this huge moth just landed on it. I don't know what it is, but it looks really cool. Got so many moths on the sheet right now. Oh my god. I'm terrified of bugs. I don't know why I'm doing this. But overall, it was definitely worth it. As we left to go eat dinner, we saw another moth that was just kind of chilling at our dinner table, which was really cool. But after dinner, I took down the sheet, and it was finally time to go to bed, and time to start day 2. Alright, so this is day 2 in Costa Rica. I'm sure you can hear the downpour of rain right now. There's hummingbirds at like a feeder right by my head. Light sheeting, as you saw, was pretty eventful. Yeah, I'm so excited for today. We're going on a night hike to find some frogs, and tomorrow we're going to hike to some waterfalls. Here's what I'm seeing right now. Absolutely gorgeous view. And then there's the feeder that the hummingbirds are at. I'll see if I can get footage of one for you guys. I don't know if you can see it, but there's one right there. Oh wow, that's really bad quality. Yeah, there's one of the hummingbirds right there. They keep flying over here to eat from the sugar water. Before we left, I went to go take a shower only to realize that my shampoo bottle had exploded, which I'd have to deal with for the entire rest of the trip. Yay. But after my shower, we ended up going on a hike just to explore the grounds, see what it had to offer. We went to go see the aviary they had there, saw a few toucans and some other really cool birds. All of them were captive though, so no new wild animals to add to the list. But they did have on display a few that could be found naturally in the country. And I was really excited to hopefully see some of them in the wild, specifically the scarlet macaw. While exploring the grounds, we saw our first and only wild animal for the day, other than the hummingbirds, being a squirrel, which was really cool, seeing a squirrel just like in the middle of the jungle. It was really fun. Next was time for the night trip. We took a van to this like enclosure to see a bunch of frogs that were native to the country. All of them were captive, but it was really cool seeing a bunch of frogs that we could see, although we were too high in the mountains on this location to see some. But don't worry, we will definitely see wild frogs. Some of the coolest ones that we saw there were definitely the glass frogs, where you can see the underside of them. Our guide, Pablo, actually took a few photos of them for me because, as you saw, I am terrible at taking photos. The other cool ones were the poison dart frogs, which were fantastic, as always, but we got to see some in the wild later, so it would definitely be overshadowed. And the giant toad, or the cane toad, was also another highlight for me. It was absolutely beautiful and really weird seeing it in its natural environment. But with the frog tour done, we went to bed and woke up bright and early on day 3 for the waterfall hike. Alright, so day 3, third of the way through the trip. Today we're going on a morning hike to see some waterfalls. Last night the frog thing was pretty cool. I learned a lot about the frogs that you can find here and how to find them, so maybe we can find some ones in the wild in the future. But we're starting here and then going all the way to like the waterfalls. It's like a 2-hour hike. I'm pretty excited. We'd start off the hike by seeing some really cool plants with really weird names. My favorite being the rattlesnake plant, just because it's a really cool name and it does look like a rattlesnake's rattle. And shortly after that, we'd see some caterpillars and an inchworm, and then a blue morpho butterfly, which apparently is a sign of good luck. And oh boy, did that end up being true. We then saw a neat little harvestman, which was cool, seeing something familiar way out here. And then a frog, which was really unexpected and really cool. So the butterfly was definitely lucky. And of course, we got to see the waterfalls themselves, which speak for themselves. The waterfalls were gorgeous, and honestly, it was absolutely worth the 2-hour hike. I would absolutely do that again. Wow. This is fantastic. Oh my god. But then at the end of the hike, when we were all tired and dreary, we got into the location and I was able to see this really cool moth and this really cool cricket that was just kind of hanging around us while we waited for the bus. But finally, the bus picked us up, and after a very quick breakfast, we were ready to go to our next location. On the drive there, we ended up seeing a coati, which is very common. It's like a raccoon relative, and it came up very close to us to the point where our driver, Luis, ended up saying that if we opened the door, it would most likely jump in because it thought we had food. Also on the drive there, Luis told us this story about how his brother had captured a margay, or caucel in Spanish, and was planning on selling it, which is very illegal. So Luis ended up calling the cops on his brother, which is really funny, but also goes to show how pretty much everyone in Costa Rica cares about the environment in some way. We made a pit stop in town, and honestly, it was really great. We got to see this beautiful church, which ended up having a relic of St. John Bosco in it, which basically a relic is either a body part of a very holy person or something that a very holy person interacted with. So it was really cool seeing one in person. There was a crack in the stained glass at this church, so a bunch of parakeets were flying in and out as well. So it was pretty cool. And after the pit stop, we made our way to the second hotel. First thing we did when we got back was eat lunch, and we were joined by a nice little orb weaver in our plant. But after lunch, I started walking around the grounds and started taking pictures of a bunch of animals I saw, and it was really fruitful. There were so many on this. It was right by a national park, so we were very successful in finding animals. Then after that was all over, we started settling in for bed. I got up to close the curtains because if I didn't, it looked like this, which is terrifying. But then I noticed a gecko on the curtain. And let me tell you, this gecko kept us up for 30 minutes as we tried to get it out the door. We finally did, and finally fell asleep to get ready for day 4. Okay, I'm gonna make this one really quick because I'm actually running a little late to the next thing. But, in the new hotel, view's fantastic. Didn't get as much sleep as I wanted to last night because of the gecko in the room. But, today we have a river cruise planned, like a nature tour on like a boat through the river. And then tonight we're doing a night hike to see what kind of animals we can see at night. So pretty cool. Yeah, let's go. The first animal I saw was a pair of black vultures. I also saw a spoonbill. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any footage of it. The next thing I'd see were 2 northern jacanas and a snowy egret drinking some water together. We then saw our first cormorant of the river boat ride, which definitely would not be the last, and our first howler monkeys, which were very cool to see in person, and it was honestly astounding seeing them so close to us. After the howler monkeys, we saw an egret that was stuck in some fishing line, and so our boat went over, and one of our guides, along with some of the people who were on the boat, ended up helping the egret and unwrapping it, unhooking it, and letting it back in the water, which was honestly just fantastic to see. I can't describe just how inspiring that was to see, and I only wish I could have helped. After the egret, we saw a caiman, which was really cool. Like, I know I keep saying, like, all of these were really cool. It's because they were. And then after the caiman, we saw some of the whistling ducks that we saw while at the previous lodge. We then saw some howler monkeys actually crossing from one tree to another on the ground, which was just really cool to see them come out of the tree one by one, climb up, and then jump to the next tree. Because I've never seen monkeys actually, like, do that in person before. And not too far away from the howler monkeys, we actually saw our first capuchin monkeys of the trip, which was pretty sweet. Capuchins are adorable and super cool to see. After the monkeys, we ended up seeing a two-toed sloth, which was currently asleep because they're nocturnal, but it was still really cool seeing it, even if it did just kind of look like a ball of fur the whole time. After the sloth, we saw a bunch of really beautiful birds, and honestly, I saw so many more birds than I thought I would. Like, they were everywhere. Then finally, towards the end, we saw a three-toed sloth, which is the sloth that you guys are probably most familiar with. It's got the mask on it. And this guy was honestly just looked like a branch. I genuinely thought he was a branch. After the sloth, we saw some spider monkeys, which was the last species of monkey in the area that we could see. And we'd seen 3 out of 4 of the monkeys in Costa Rica now. And then the very last thing we saw were some green basilisks, which were really cool. I noticed them because they were running across the water to different logs, and it was just so cool seeing basilisks in the wild. Again, I know I keep saying everything was cool, but it's because it was. Honestly, like, this was one of the greatest trips I've ever been on. On the way back to the resort and at the resort, we saw a bunch more really cool animals, including an iguana and another sloth, which was just kind of chilling outside in the parking lot. But now that we'd gotten back and had a little time to unwind, it was finally time to go on our first night hike. So as I got ready, I was prepared to see anything. Right out of the gate, we saw some frogs, one of which being a strawberry poison dart frog, which was really cool. We also saw some really cool bugs, and we saw yet another three-toed sloth. Next, we saw this type of frog called a rain frog, which was just kind of chilling on the sidewalk. We also saw this really cool little millipede that was hiding in the leaves, and some really scary looking spiders. Like, but they were so cool. Oh my god, it was so cool seeing, like, giant spiders. After this, we saw some more frogs and some more bugs, including this one really cool longhorn beetle, but the highlight of the night hike was definitely the snakes. We saw 3 total species of snakes, one being the eyelash pit viper, the blunt-headed tree snake, and the one and only fer-de-lance. The fer-de-lance was genuinely, like, terrifying to see. I was so unprepared, but it was also a really beautiful snake. All the snakes we saw were gorgeous, but especially this one, and it was remarkable being able to see something so close to me. It was fantastic. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you ask, it was the only fer-de-lance we saw the whole trip. Okay, just got done with the night hike, and that was insane. We saw so many animals that, like, our guide, Joseph, said that, we needed to stop stopping to see every single one, and so that he could take us to see some of the highlights. And there were highlights. There were highlights. Oh man, I wish I got more B-roll footage, but that was fantastic. About to eat dinner, and then I'll see you on day 5. Yeah. Alright, so this start of day 5. I'm sure you can hear the cicadas. Plan today is to pack up, head to the next place, and then probably do more nature stuff. To get to the next location, we had to ford a river, which was pretty funny. But at the next location, I saw a few animals on the property, but I was really excited for the second night hike. The second night hike was off to a pretty great start. We saw a few birds at first, and then a few spiders, which were just really cool. All of them were just so cool to see. But then we actually ended up finding a bark scorpion, which we found using our UV light, because fun fact, scorpions glow under UV light. After the scorpion, we saw yet another eyelash viper, which was just as beautiful as the last one. We saw some katydid, we saw a centipede, which was pretty cool. Then we saw a resplendent quetzal, which apparently is a really big ticket item for birders. Our photos are kind of terrible because it was sleeping, but it was really phenomenal to see something that people go to the country just to see. We then saw a few more insects, including a glass butterfly and a really giant stick insect, which actually, when I was filming footage of the stick insect, I heard someone behind me say, "I am absolutely not getting that close." I was actually asking a lot of questions about the bugs around, and Jazdian asked me if I wanted to go into entomology or not, to which I told him I am terrified of bugs, which he was genuinely surprised by. But, we really got to talk about, like, herpetology, because apparently he goes herping a lot, which was honestly really cool to hear. We saw another really cool bird, this one being the bumblebee hummingbird, which is, the picture doesn't really do it justice, but it was like the size of a golf ball. It was really small. And then we saw yet another new snake species for this trip, being the palm pit viper, which was gorgeous, and it was just sitting there absolutely motionless. Our guide, Jazdian, said that it could sit there for days without moving, which was incredible to me. Overall, the night hike was fantastic. Alright, so this is the 6th day, and today we are going on a hike across some hanging bridges. I'm pretty scared of heights, but I think it's gonna be fine. And then we're also going on a hike near the hotel to see an agouti, because I have been in this country for 6 days and I still haven't seen one, and apparently they're really common, and I don't know how I haven't seen one yet. The bridge hike was a big day for plants, with us actually getting to walk through segments of an old growth forest, which has been my dream for the longest time. But so many plants were seen today. So many plants. We also got to see a frog right at the beginning of the hike, which was pretty cool, seeing it just kind of sleeping there, because most of the time you don't see frogs in the day, We also got to see a caterpillar, which was the same kind we saw earlier, and some cordyceps fungi, which was pretty cool. Later into the trip, we saw a troop of howler monkeys right on the side of the bridge, and it was really cool just seeing them staring at us and like climbing through the trees and stuff. But ahead of us was what I would nickname the alpha incel loner monkey. His name was Mario, and he was just kind of chilling in the middle of the bridge. Our tour guide Mauricio actually said that it was okay for us to walk by him, just be careful because he likes to grab people's ankles and hang them over the bridge. I thought this was just a funny joke, but no, Mario did absolutely try to grab our ankles, and one of the people in the tour group got way too close to him and started freaking Mario out, so Mario was like showing his teeth at us and tried grabbing our camera equipment, which was really fun. Honestly, that was a fantastic experience. I know it sounds terrible, but I would definitely do that again just to encounter Mario, the alpha incel loner monkey. When we got back, we ended up going to this park next to our hotel called Agouti Park because, like I mentioned previously, we'd been in the country for 6 days and still haven't seen one of the most common animals in the country, an agouti. So we bought tickets, which were pretty cheap, looked around the building and saw a bunch of animals around, and in the back saw actually a group of coatis. And so that was really cool to see, especially since a group of coatis is what created one of the most famous like sauropod hoaxes. So it got my hopes up really, really high. And not even like 3 minutes later, we ended up seeing an agouti. It was pretty anticlimactic, but like, we saw one, and it was there, and I was joking with my dad, like, so you want to head back now? Because that was our entire point of going there, was to see an agouti. For the rest of the time at the park, we saw a few cool organisms, but it was mostly pretty anticlimactic, just a nice, calming nature hike to relax from Mario. When we got back to the room, we saw a bunch of weird flea-like animals on the floor, so we thought, oh my god, are these fleas? Do we need to call hotel staff? No, they're not fleas, they just look like fleas. They're called sand fleas, the specific kind being lawn shrimp, and it was such a pain to deal with, and they were more annoying than harmful, and I hate them. But I went to bed, and now it's time for day 7. Alright, so this is actually day 6. I miscounted a bit, whoops. But today we're traveling to the next hotel, and I think the plan is to just chill at the beach. I'll see if I can get some, I'm gonna see if I can get some cool underwater footage at the next place, see if I can see some cool fish, and yeah, that's pretty much it. See you guys there. When we got to the lobby, we actually saw something that I had no idea was in the area and definitely did not expect to see. A tarantula hawk wasp, which again was just such a surprise. And then I didn't actually end up going to the beach or getting underwater footage today because our 2-hour car drive ended up taking 5 hours. So for most of the day, we were just sitting in a van. The drive wasn't all bad though, because we got to see some cool like landslide patterns in the rocks and got to see some really cool soil. That was the only good part about this day. It was mainly just driving in a van for 5 hours. We did also see a crocodile on the drive there, but that was definitely the highlight of the drive. It was so boring. However, once we got there, we settled in for dinner and were nicely treated to some live music, which was definitely the best way to end this day, just relaxing and getting ready for an intense day tomorrow while listening to some live music. Alright, so this is day 7, finally. We're in our next resort. It's a lot more fancy and more urban, but today plan is to go kayaking through like mangroves and see some mangrove animals, which should be pretty cool. And then I think just chill on the beach after that. So I'll try to get you guys some underwater footage of some like fish and stuff with my camera. when we go on the beach. We saw quite a few animals right out of the gate, including this purple crab claw that was from a crab clearly eaten by like a bird, and I think it belonged to a Halloween crab. We also ended up seeing the scarlet macaw, which is something that I had been wanting to see the whole trip, and we were finally in an area where it lived naturally, and it was so awe-inspiring seeing this very famous bird in the wild living naturally. We also got to see quite a few crabs, which, if you know me, you know I love invertebrates, specifically arthropods. So the crabs were really cool, even though our tour guide was like, yeah, there are crabs everywhere. You don't need to pay attention to them. But I beg to differ. We also saw some cool animals just around the water. We saw a crocodile swimming in the water, which was very scary because we were kayaking right next to it. But our kayaking trip in the mangrove forest was very exciting. I am so tired. Oh my god. I'm so tired. But we took a break on the guide's private beach and started heading back to get ready to go to the beach at our hotel. The sediment isn't well sorted. The beach at our hotel was really rocky and murky, so unfortunately I wasn't able to get any good underwater footage. However, there were hermit crabs around and there were some basilisks around. I checked the beach and there were absolutely no fish. So now I'm gonna rinse off and get ready for dinner because I'm covered in cuts from how rocky the beach was. There was literally no fish, and because of all the rain, the water was super murky, so I couldn't see anything. Alright, about to go to bed. Tomorrow we've got planned more hiking and more beach stuff. Hopefully going to the beach will be a little more fruitful this time. However, I don't think it will because of how much rain we've been getting. But hopefully we see some cool stuff hiking in the national park. This is the start of day 8. The plan is to go hiking in the national park and then go to the beach, and the water's supposed to be clearer. So I'll see if I can get like pictures of fish. I'm not sure if you guys heard that, but there are like howler monkeys right out here and they're really loud. The hike was actually super eventful and we saw so many animals, but luckily enough for you guys, our tour guide Andre actually did a lot of the voiceover work for me while we were there, unprompted. So you're gonna learn a bit about these animals from Andre instead of me.
Okay, this is amazing what I found over here in Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica. We have such a beautiful brown vine snake. So all the little thing that you can see over there, that's the body of the snake. And look at the head right here. Pura Vida, André Manuel Antonio, Costa Rica, Iguana Tours. Amazing. We got this beautiful brown-throated three-toed sloth. That guy was scratching a little bit.
It's being active.
Now start moving. See, that guy just joined over there. Oh, wow. Amazing. Of course, that guy is hiding over there, but look at how pretty. This is the largest species of toucan that we have in Costa Rica, which is the yellow-throated toucan or black mandible toucan. And you see how that guy is collecting some little berries. Bon appetit, amigo. Enjoy your breakfast. Oh, it's kind of moving. Look at the guy. This is amazing. You see how that little grasshopper is kind of moving. Look at how colorful. The name of this and this one, we call them rainbow grasshopper, 7-color grasshopper, Solano grasshopper. The way how we found such a beautiful grasshopper is because those grasshoppers are strictly monophagic feeders, mono one phago to eat. So they as like a food source, 1 or 2 families of plants. So what I need to do is to identify which ones are those 2 families of plant, the one that they eat, identify the family of plant, and then just look for them. Oh, amazing. Look at how cute the little tent-making bat. You see how the little guy modified that leaf into a nice shelter. Characteristic of this guy, they have a leaf nose, piggy nose, see? There we go, fruit bat. Amazing what we found here in our nature tour in Manuel Antonio of Costa Rica. Look at that beautiful crustacean, tropical land crab. Look at their eyes sticking out of their body. Those are like 360 cameras. In case if a predator show up, easily they can detect those guys. And that guy is kind of warming up. Amazing what we got over here, what we found in our nature tour. Look at the size of that huge, gigantic grasshopper that we got here in Manuel Antonio of Costa Rica. This is the giant red-winged grasshopper. Amazing what my friend and assistant Alex found over here. We have the Caraugastolide, or the rain frog. Characteristic of this guy, they have very, very long but thin fingers. Oh wow, this is just amazing. This is just amazing what we got over here in our nature tour in Manuel Antonio of Costa Rica. Wow, you see how that guy is tasting.
Hi, it's me again. Remember, you're here to watch me, not Andre. I know he's cooler, but still. The snake actually did end up crossing right in front of us, which was really fun. Seeing it, like, because it was super fast snake, and it just, like, crossed right in front of us. The guides had to, like, separate the crowd, except some people just didn't want to be separated and wanted to risk being bitten by the snake, which was really funny. Later in the hike, we then saw a sensitive plant, or a mimosa plant, which is something I have been wanting to see for like a decade. It's the plant that like closes up when you touch it as a defense mechanism, and it was amazing getting to see it finally after all these years. I was so happy. That was without a doubt the most insane hike ever. We saw like 5 things in like 100 meters, but we went to the beach. I don't think I saw too many fish. It was too murky because of how many people were there and all the rain. I'm gonna skim the footage, see if there's any fish. If there is, I'll show that footage now. Lunch, and saw a crab and it crawled on my foot. I'll show pictures of the crab. Yeah, so I'm gonna take a shower and then we're flying home in the morning. Finally, it was time to fly back, which was a terrible experience, quite frankly. We woke up really early to get to the airport. Our breakfast consisted of a moldy apple and the most stale sandwich I've ever had, and then we flew back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this like vlog sort of video. I know it's mostly voiceover with actual footage, but I really didn't film that much footage. I'm gonna be honest. While I was there. But, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I really hope this isn't my last video, because I'm starting college soon. So I'm definitely going to be taking a bit of a break after this one. But hopefully I can come back. But yeah, hopefully see you guys next time, and bye.